Grok Talk.
While her family is personally benefiting from her failed votes and the taxpayers are footing the bill for her $14,500 a month salary, Jean Shaheen has resorted to ducking debates and hiding from you.
Senator, when are you going to hold a town hall meeting? Senator, do you have any plans to hold a town hall meeting in the future?
Follow me around and ask all these crazy questions.
Her ducking and hiding has even caused the Foster's Daily Democrat to wonder if Shaheen has gone Washington. Unfortunately, Senator Shaheen can't be bothered to answer to her constituents, and her team offers little more than scraps.
Would you like a doggy bag? Would you like us to feed you poor guys standing out in the rain? We have some heels of bread and some little bits of food for you.
Profiting from her votes, hiding from her constituents, Jean Shaheen has indeed gone Washington.
In the future?
Follow me around and ask all these crazy questions.
Would you like a doggy bag? Would you like us to feed you poor guys standing out in the rain? We have some heels of bread and some little bits of food for you.
3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of Grok Talk, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GraniteGrok.com.
Grok Talk.
All right. Welcome back to segment 4, Grok Talk, October 25th, 2014. Happy birthday again to Kimberly Morin.
Birthday!
Happy birthday. And
happy birthday to Zach
my
McDonald as well.
son Zach. We won't ask how old any of you are.
Good choice.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, reminders, as usual, to check us out on Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, and iHeart. We are on Twitter and Facebook. Just look for Granite Grok. And, of course, we have now over 1 million views on YouTube with 2,500 some odd videos. So check us out there. Sometimes you'll see the show there. Sometimes you won't, but there's tons of interviews with all kinds of candidates from all over the nation and around the state. And nobody else does it the way we do. We put the whole video up. We don't edit it. We don't look for sound bites. You'll get to see the entire conversation, the entire event, the entire speech, the whole deal. So you can, get it all right there.
I'm going to repeat that off of the Walt Havenstein. The whole speech. I won't chop it up.
There you go.
All right.
Don't talk.
So we're going to move into our next segment. We have another New Hampshire House candidate here, and geez, there's so many to choose from. We could have them all in if we had that many weeks, but we don't. Guy Comtois here. Guy, thanks for coming in, and you're running for what seat?
I am running for Belknap 7,
Belknap
which is
7.
Town of Bonstead.
Okay, Bonstead. We had the town.
Yeah.
We didn't have the number.
I was confused on the number, so I didn't give it.
All right. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And let's just get right to it. Why are you running?
Well,
who wants that kind of attention?
especially this time around. Well, it's simple. I mean, I talk about this whenever I can, and I'm kind of surprised how little people seem to get enraged about it. But we are the first generation that where our children cannot expect to have a better quality of life than us in the history of the United States. We're the first generation. And I personally, I saw this coming in the 90s. I was involved in politics starting early, like 1991. And one of the reasons why I went to Bonstead, moved from Pelham to Bonstead and bought 93 acres, because I have 2 sons, because I saw that this was coming. I saw that they're not going to have much of a chance. And I was trying to prepare for them and to get ahead of it so that I can leave it to them and then actually have a head start. Because if you don't have a head start with the mounting debt on the federal level and the back and forth with the state, you grab control, you straighten out the debt, you lose it, you go back into debt. They're not going to have a future. And, right now in New Hampshire, we have the oldest workforce in the country, which means our children are leaving.
Yep.
And they're leaving because they want high-tech jobs. They don't want government jobs. They want a chance to, I was talking to the person I wrote in with. It's like government jobs are limited. Yeah, there's good pay, there's good benefits, but you're limited.
Yeah, you kind of have to be a liberal.
You're ultimately limited by when you run out of other people's money. The government jobs can't last forever. And by the way, all you government employees that think you're going to have a nice fat retirement, just remember you may have 100% of a wonderful benefits package, but it's going to run out of money eventually.
Right.
And when you've got that 100% of nothing, because you wouldn't settle for a 401k instead of taxpayer-funded benefits for life, well, you're going to have more life than you're going to have benefits. Yeah. That's not a way to go.
No, we're a fiscal Pompeii. And Mount Vesuvius is Washington, D.C., and it's $18 trillion. And when it blows, and it's going to, I've always told my sons when they were young, I said, this is the big problem with borrowing money. The people you borrow it off of want it back. Well, that's the catch.
It's more like a black hole. Actually, when it gets to a certain critical mass, it's going to suck the entire country down into it.
Oh, or Europe will fall. You know, we're constantly propping up Greece, Spain, Italy, behind the scenes.
Yeah, there you go. Talking about Pompeii, I mean, Greece has gone bankrupt again, and the Germans are saying we're not paying this time, and the Italians are spending way more than they're making.
220%.
Which means that the only thing that's keeping them propped up is having an Italian running the European Central Bank and printing it for them.
Right. And it's all it takes. It's all it's ever taken us.
So what does New Hampshire need to do?
Well, New Hampshire needs to get back to the mentality of the New Hampshire advantage. I mean, we're 44th friendliest for business now.
Yeah.
We're like two away from California.
Yeah.
I mean, California. I mean, so again, with the oldest workforce, means the children are leaving. Means we have to start getting business friendly again. We have to. And it always amazed me with governors how they don't go out and court business. You know, I mean, let's face it. Court some of the major gun manufacturers in Connecticut. Connecticut's probably one of the worst states on firearms. Go down and see what you can do. Look, New York just did that 10-year. New York, 10 years, no property taxes, no business taxes if you move your business into New York. And Como.
That's a joke because that excludes a ton of businesses from
True.
doing it.
True, but the plan is good if you actually went out and actually tried to do the plan the proper way.
It'd be a great thing.
Yes. Yeah. And why is the governor just running around, seeing what they can spend, throwing money at this group, throwing money at that group? It's always. I heard this say once.
That's the way liberals think. They think they create jobs by stealing money from one group and sending it to another, instead of making an environment where all these businesses can thrive and the revenues will increase even if you drop the rate.
Right.
Right. I mean, I heard. What's the difference between a politician and a statesman? Politician worries about the next election. Statesman worries about the next generation. Mm-hmm. And we have a bunch of politicians running around. Just for the 2 year, they live life in 2 year bits. You know, we got a year, they're not going to really be on us. The election year, they're going to be all over us. Get through that hump, and it's this one big cycle of tossing money here, there, just so they can get the most amount of votes to get back in again. And you wonder why Washington isn't going to do anything about this financial cliff, is because if you do get out there and you do vote to try to help the next generation, like we have, they kill you in the papers. You know, you're anti-family, you're anti-community, you don't like the disabled, you're against the elderly.
That's what we were talking about. The messaging of the progressive left is the thing that does a lot of damage because we give credence to it.
Right.
We actually start falling back and going, ooh, let's not take up that debate.
They
Because
do have a media advantage that's very difficult to overcome, and of course, we try to do what we can. At Granite Rock, you've got, Fox News tries to do something different than the rest of the media. WBIN is trying to be a little bit different, so now we may have some TV in the state that isn't as far left or doesn't contort or cherry pick the message. They would, and it's tough. It is tough when the left is against you. They have all these guns. They have the great big broadside, and you're sitting there with your little pea shooter.
Let's talk about guns for a moment, because with the current with the current left-leaning legislature and governor in this state, we're already starting to look unfriendly towards gun manufacturers. Well, let's see how that's worked out for a few other states. The gun manufacturers are leaving Colorado.
Maryland.
They're leaving Maryland. They're probably going to leave Connecticut. They're probably going to leave New York. And we do not want them to leave New Hampshire. Wouldn't it be a tragic irony if gun manufacturers moved en masse to socialist Vermont because it's the only place where they don't molest guns?
Yeah. Isn't that a sad thing?
It is. And it's just, it's damn the torpedoes. They know we literally 3 years ago in the House, I forget what spending bill it was, but one of the representatives got up, a spender, and said up in front, well, we all know we're on the Titanic. What are you going to do about it?
Oh, my God.
And it's like, well, I don't know, start bailing? I mean, what does that mean?
It means to be more careful of the damn icebergs because the ship's not unsinkable.
Or it means just give it up and just go along with the flow because you're a bunch of lemmings and it's going down anyway, which is what they do.
We know what happens to lemmings. They go over the cliff, and we've had a couple of fiscal cliffs already. What I'm going to be more crass about the current batch of politicians. You said the difference between a politician and a statesman, Guy, and I think that's a good one. But there is one next generation that the politicians do think about. Their own.
Right.
You notice that they feather their own nests. They make sure they're in the right kind of investments because they know what the wrong ones are, and that they and their families will be taken care of. But the rest of you're the suckers that are paying for their lifestyle until the proverbial excrement hits the ventilator.
Right, and it's up. Yeah, you're right. It's upside down. I mean, Ben Franklin used to always end his letters, "Your humble servant, B. Franklin." You know what I mean? And we don't have that. We're the servants. We're serving them. Anytime you have lawmakers in Washington that spread out this Obamacare, but we don't have to use it. Well, if it's so good, how come you're not using it? And we stand for that. And the people just don't get riled. The press has managed to get everybody chasing their tails. Mm-hmm. And back to the Titanic thing, one of the problems we have in the United States is we always seem to be unsinkable. I grew up during Vietnam, was on every night. I remember the teachers in school, oh my God, look at this, it's terrible. And all of a sudden it went away. And then we went into the gas crunch where we're standing in lines. And I remember my parents all worried about it. We're not going to have gas to go to work. It was that frenzy. And all of a sudden it went away. And then everything we seem to get into after a few years goes away.
This one's not going to go away.
And the debt keeps mounting and mounting and mounting. So it's just like before they understood hurricanes. I think in 1938, once the eye was over them, they thought they were out of the hurricane because everything calmed down. It was just the beginning, and that's what we get. We come out of a fiscal problem. We're in the eye of the hurricane. We're looking around going, we get out of that one.
The debt is the huge problem, and it's something that's different from all the other previous. I mean, we've talked about Roosevelt. We've talked about going back to Wilson. We've talked about how they did things that we haven't seen yet. Thugs in the streets, people putting signs on their businesses. I mean, it's like, just so they'd get business because the government made them do it. Mm-hmm. And we did recover from those things, but it's always been about the debt. They bitched and moaned about $9 trillion, and then they doubled it.
Yeah.
And we inside the system, inside the sausage factory, or the Tea Partiers, even everybody are like, this is bad, this is horrible. Look what they did. The media controls the message.
Yep.
They have convinced a lot of people that the Tea Party stands for something other than reducing spending, local control of government, a little bit more personal responsibility, because that comes with moving that money down into the local government. If you're going to take $8 trillion in spending or whatever it is and move it back down into the states, people locally have to take control because the same a-holes that are in D.C. will go, money, 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 and they'll take over your town and your county and your state, which is why we like to have gentlemen like Guy on, because we want to vote for people who understand that if they take the power from government, it becomes theirs.
Exactly.
And so they have to be mature about that.
And so does the responsibility. So, Steve, I think I smell a break coming up.
We do.
In which case, we need to let Guy expand a little more on his principles.
Yes. Well, what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and then we're going to just talk about what you want to talk about.
Because it's clear that Guy is in violent agreement with personal responsibility and small government.
Violent agreement?
We'll some specific issues, and
exactly.
We'll be right back.
Shaheen said, if you like your current health plan, you can keep it. That's not true, Senator. 22,000 New Hampshire citizens have been kicked off their insurance plans. Hospitals in Rochester, Concord, and Portsmouth, they aren't allowed to provide care under the exchange. Senator, you were wrong in your comments. You should apologize for your misleading remarks. I'm calling Senator Shaheen at 750-3004 and telling her I want my doctor back. You should too.
Paid for by saberpac.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
On healthcare, Jean Shaheen didn't tell the truth.
You can keep your insurance if you like it. It will increase choices for families. It will promote competition.
The facts. More than 20,000 New Hampshire patients have had their coverage canceled. And Obamacare offers only one insurer on New Hampshire's individual market. So next November, if you like your senator, you can keep her. If you don't, you know what to do. Ending Spending Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
All right, we are